In a world where the same teams show up at the top during a mass college football realignment period, a glass ceiling has been broken. I'd like you all to join me in welcoming a very bright and new face in regards to media attention, and a breath of fresh air in a world where money talks. The Liberty Flames. From a general afterthought to debatable future playoff contender with the recent promotion to a NY6 Bowl in-game, I'm going to be taking you through the many different colored stepping stones of this program's storied past, while also looking at what this means for the future, and how this program could be one of the first of its kind. Without further ado, let's throw it back to where it all started in 1973. The Flames were known as the Lynchburg Baptist Flames football team back then, and were led by Coach Lee Royer in their first year. They would lose 3 straight and win 3 straight in all 6 of the games being played in Virginia, 5 of the 6 of them being at the same stadium. Royer would later die in a plane crash on November 20th, leaving a grieving aura over the team for years to come. The person that they would put in the deep shoes of taking over his position would be John Cartwright. He would take over the reins and find a way to go 5-4 in a very tumultuous season, and go 14-13 overall throughout his tenure. His biggest claim to his legacy would be coaching the team's first All-American Rupert Wright, in the first step to relevance in history's short tenure as a program, especially in the NAIA programs. Tim Dowling would take over after Cartwright left to start the Calvary Independent Baptist School as well as Boys School in 1977. His first 2 seasons were rough, but in the year that he tied the longest tenure of any Liberty coach of the school, he led the team to its best recorded season until this year at 9-1. And also defeated the team's first Division I opponent in Morehead State in his lesser but still credible 1980 season following the 9-1 success. With the recent success of the program and wins like that under their belt, they were able to argue the transition to Division II independent the following season. Always a pioneer, after living through a few growing pains seasons, he left to form a program at Cumberland College and would later be the commissioner of the Mid-South until 2002, when Tim Dowling would retire, until his eventual death in 2018. This would lead the Flames to hire a former coach of a Division I football program as they were attempting to achieve a little bit more. This would have been the former coach of the Richmond Spiders and Maryland Terrapins, Mr. Morgan Hout. Hout's tenure is an interesting one as he helped them through their transition to being an independent FCS Division I program. But the seasons leading up to the transition were nothing to write home about whatsoever, so it's very interesting how they even did so. After transitioning though, something clicked, and the Flames went on to win 8 games, en route to a very controversial promotion for Morgan, while the program hired NFL talent Sam Rutiglino out from under him in his place. This shows their absolute commitment to winning, though not as much of commitment to loyalty, as Hout would later accept a position at Baylor in an act that some believe was protest to losing the position at the time of success for the program. Ushering in Rutiglino's years, they put on a very consistent and polished product out on the field, but never put the program onto the national level at the consistency that was initially hoped for from the program, as he ended up above 500 career average, but not by a huge margin, especially with someone with previous NFL success under his belt. The Flames were a bit caught off guard by his retirement in 2000 though, as he was the creator of the era that had Eric Green and other draft picks selected in the first round for the first time in Liberty history. They obviously did not have a backup plan and would end up signing World League coordinator Ken Karcher, who would eventually end up setting the still standing record for worst win percentage in program history during his tenure. It was a low point in the roller coaster of this program and a major underachievement of expectations for somebody that had back and forth success in various of the sport. One thing that can be said is that his best seasons came around the time the Big South began sponsoring football and led to the first time Liberty would forego being an independent and join a conference in their tenure. I believe this played into the 5-year extension that they ended up giving him in 2004, as the program attempted to give Ken Karcher the benefit of the doubt and adapting to the proper scholarship recruitment level. He would repay them by going 1-10 though, and be very quickly removed for the late and great Danny Rocco. This head coaching gig would be Danny's first of his career and a prime example of giving somebody a chance in the league if they have the potential. And he did not disappoint, getting off to a 6-5 start after a tumultuous 1-10 start and winning Coach of the Year honors in back-to-back seasons, as well as 4 Big South championships in a row, en route to the team's first real claim to national relevance in the college football landscape, and the golden years for many, as the program had all but peaked in many people's eyes. Especially with Rocco leaving after signing a multi-year extension with the team to join University of Delaware, he would leave behind the best winning percentage in history of the program with a minimum of 2 seasons. Contrary to any naysayer's belief, the team had the ultimate next man up mentality and perseverance under the guidance of Turner Gill and a hard-nosed offensive attack, as they claimed 4 Big South championship titles as well, matching that of the late Rocco, and even got to the second round of the FCS playoffs with wins against ranked James Madison and upsetting number 1 Coastal Carolina before being narrowly finished off by Villanova. The team at this point was always in FCS contention and conversations, but never really got back to almost achieving that perfect season mark during this time, with 6-5 aplenty being the record of choice. Gill would retire in 2018 to spend time with his family after helping the team bridge to a Division I FBS school designation, after again not being invited to the FCS tourney, despite being part of a conference championship. This part of the timeline is where slow and steady went out the window, when they hired the controversial figure at the time, former Ole Miss Rebels coach Hugh Freeze, and began preparing for liftoff. In his first season with the Flames, they utilized a very balanced passing attack that spread the ball around and opened up lanes for their 1,000-yard rusher Frankie Hickson. This got them their first Cure Bowl appearance, as well as their first postseason win since being in the FCS. Hugh Freeze would then be signed to a massive 5-year deal, heading into a decade full of surprises. The following year would be marred with COVID complications that all teams throughout the nation felt, and would lead to the eventual rescheduling of the Coastal Carolina game to the Cure Bowl. That Cure Bowl victory over a ranked opponent was very nice to see, but the win left the fan base feeling empty and feeling like they deserved a lot more and could achieve more after a 10-1 season. Even with the mixed attack of Malik Willis, the Flames' best season would be in 2021, where they went 8-5, closing out with 4 heart-wrenching losses in a row. These teams were littered with talent, and Malik Willis would later go on to play for the Titans, but they just could not close out games. For instance, if you remove the New Mexico State game, they lost by a combined 7 points for their 4 total losses on the season. This just shows the narrow knife's edge that this season was on. This period showed that the Flames knew how to recruit, and even with resources that did not compare to other maybe SEC rivals, they had what it took to stay competitive. People want to come to this school, and talent makes its way here no matter what, though they probably did not realize just how competitive that would be. In 2022, there was a promising year with freshman redshirt quarterback Caden Salter that showed he had the ability to add the same flair that Malik had, but in his own natural way. He was still a raw quarterback talent and new to the uptick in college speed though, and they would end up going 8-5 under Hugh Freeze's guidance, with him making his way shortly after over to Auburn, not even taking time to finish the bowl game, which I can agree with if you're on your way out already, and breaking his 5-year deal a few years early. The 10th coach in Liberty's history did not miss a beat, and with Wake Forest transfer Quentin Cooley and the giant step forward in ball protection by Caden Salter, this team buckled down on defense and was able to match their offensive explosion that came to life before our very eyes in the team's first year in Conference USA, or any conference for that matter, since the Big South exit in 2017. They marched past all their conference opponents with ease, with the only opponent getting within a touchdown of them being Middle Tennessee, showing that they might have outgrown this conference prior to even arriving. The road Liberty paved for themselves has them in a straight line matchup with number 8 Oregon, a team that was previously in talks to get into the college football championship tournament and has a future NFL draft pick at the helm of their offense. Can this Liberty offense that houses 2,000-yard rushers and running back and quarterback respectively upon the leaderboard, while also having Salter throw for 31 touchdowns and just 5 interceptions, go toe-to-toe with a team that has decades of higher success than them? It will all come down to an NY6 Bowl their fans were dying at the chance for days leading up to this announcement. Is this program ready for another giant leap forward in the eyes of the college football? I think so. Going undefeated in a college football season is nothing to be overlooked, and I'm glad that at least one program that achieved this is getting recognized on a level that their fans can respect. Now it comes down to this. Finish the job, Flames, and you might have a chance at seeing Salter play ranked in the top 25 for his last 2 years. Fail, and you might have a question mark near your name, and take this train down a few notches for the next half-decade to come. I know I'll be rooting for them, and until next time, this has been Mike with the Pick 6, y'all. Have a Merry Christmas.